Hey everyone, welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Bitcoin rainbow chart. And something I want to focus on in today's video is justify or use data to back up why I think that the top of Bitcoin will be in the range that I believe it'll be in. And spoiler alert, I think it can be anywhere between the 130K to 210 range, depending on when it is, and whether or not it's a 4 year cycle. Because the later it is, I do believe the peak of the price, the possible peak of the price can go up. So I'm going to be showing you data from the charts as far as my justifications for that range that I'm looking at. I don't believe in the 500K prediction like some others are saying, or $1 million Bitcoin, at least not yet. And we'll take a look at some other indicators as well. But let's start off with fear and greed. So crypto, fear and greed, we got these wonderful advertisements from Temu that I never buy anything from there, but you can get women's clothing, as you saw. I don't know what this is, a shower, a set of knives. Cool. Anyways, crypto, we were close to extreme greed. We've come back down a little bit. I am wondering if crypto is getting ready to break out. We have this sideways action over here like we've seen before. And this is what happened before the ETF approval, before we had a little correction and then blasted off into new all-time highs. So we had a little bit of a downturn. Then we were forming a new trend with higher lows, higher highs, going sideways a little bit here. I am wondering if a breakout is coming soon. One of the reasons for that is this alt season index right here. You can see that in 2020, 21, there were really three peaks for alts to run. This was alt season right here. Bitcoin dominance, when it tanks, that's when alts can explode. And if you don't know what Bitcoin dominance is, basically when Bitcoin dominance is high, that means the overall money in Bitcoin that 56%, 56% of all the money in crypto is in Bitcoin. When that number goes down really quick to the low 40%, at least in late 2017 and in 2021, that's when altcoins have exploded. And the alt season index is starting to curl up and looks like it may be getting ready to blast off. So I think the timing of all this is pretty peculiar. We're right near the edge of extreme greed. Alt season index looks ready to explode. And on the chart for Bitcoin, let's go over here. On the weekly, I've been watching these Heikin-Ashi candles. And as I've said before, I use Heikin-Ashi candles because I believe it cuts out a lot of the noise. You can see here if we just use regular candles, it's a bit more messy, but if we use a Heikin-Ashi, you can read the trends more. Something I've been looking for is that I want to see a candle body open and close above this gray line. That is the former all-time high from 2021. In the past, when Bitcoin has had an open and close above its former all-time highs, things have gotten pretty bullish. And that's typically what happens with stocks too. I can go down to something like, I believe Google kind of shows this trend. So yeah, Google here, it made this all-time high, peak to it, and then it got into this bearish trend. But as you can see, it tested it, even made new all-time highs with the wick. But again, we're looking at the candle body open and close. And as soon as it convincingly did that, then we started to go to newer all-time highs. Now, sometimes there can be fake outs, so do be aware, but that's why I look for the candle bodies and not the wicks. So right now on the weekly time frame, bullish perspective is that we have a candle body getting pretty convincingly above it. The bearish side of this would be we do have this wick wall, and you can see this candle body, the wick, it's not too big, which sometimes can be good or bad. I forget the name of it, whether it's a shooting star or what they call the name of the candle in particular, but sometimes When they have a very high wick above it, it can indicate that a sharp move down is coming. So overall, I think this can be bullish for Bitcoin. Now, going back to the Bitcoin rainbow chart, we just passed the fourth halving not too long ago. And looking at this rainbow chart, what's nice about blockchaincenter.net, it shows the ranges of these bands. And if you're wondering how this works, you can see here we go up by factors of 10. This is what's called the log scale. And if you look on the right side of the numbers, the value on TradingView, this is what the log scale will look like. So if we zoom out, you can see how in the past things are very small as far as the price. But if you put it on log scale, in my opinion, it's a better way to read trends and see how each phase or each cycle has been different. So back to the rainbow chart, it's on a log scale, and this is logarithmic regression. What does regress mean? Well, you guys know regress means that it's not moving or it's not as strong as it used to be. So, for example, if you're thinking about a sports player that they are regressing as they're getting older, like a running back, that they aren't as good or as strong as they used to be. Not that they can't be productive, and not that Bitcoin can't get you amazing returns or even some of the altcoins, but we will have diminished returns probably. And as far as diminished returns, what that looks like on the chart is we go back in time. So I have these fibs drawn from each cycle, these Fibonacci scales. You can see the percents on the fibs. So, there's 78%, 62%, 50% overall on a fib scale. But when Bitcoin makes new highs, here I can show you. So let's take a look at when Bitcoin breaks its former all-time high. Okay, here Bitcoin, it made an all-time high of around $31 in 2011. And when it broke that, it went from $31 up to $280. But then it had a minor pullback for a while, and then eventually went back up to 1,236. And you can see that the percent right there, that from its break of the all-time high to the new peak, that it moved up 3,800%. Not going to say all the other numbers, try to keep this quick. So overall, Bitcoin moved up from its prior all-time high from the first cycle to the second cycle peak. It moved up 3,800%. Okay, pretty great returns if you ask me. Now we're going to go from the yellow line. The yellow line I have marked here is whenever crypto formed a new all-time high. The gray line that's horizontal is from the former all-time high. So we're going to take this yellow line, can even extend it out. So Bitcoin was at around $1,250. Eventually, it got up to around 20,000 in 2017. And you can see that the returns, instead of that 3,000 number, it was about half that. Okay, roughly speaking. Maybe it was 2.5 times more, but 1,485%. Still amazing returns. You could have bought Bitcoin over here for $1,243. Can you imagine? And you would have had almost a 1,500% return to the next peak. Okay. Now, while that's amazing, we talked about diminished returns, logarithmic, the log scale, regression. Okay, it's regressing in strength over time. So when I say diminished returns, sometimes people, they get kind of tight or tense. They think, oh no, this guy's being bearish. Guys, on this channel, I do my best to be unbiased and realistic in my viewpoints. Anything I even guess at predicting, because I believe YouTubers who do try to predict make a fool of themselves. So I try to take an educated guess. I'll put it that way at best, of where things will go. So you guys saw that there's that 3,000+% move here. Again, diminished returns, logarithmic regression. Then we had the 1,500% return from the from that peak to this one, okay? Now let's go from the 2017 peak. Again, it's going to be that gray line here, extended it out to the 2021 peak. Well, we know this was at around 20,000, 19,000, and the all-time high here was around 70,000. So some of you guys might already know what that's going to be. It's a little bit over 3 times as much, right? 2 times 3 is 6. So 20,000 times 3, 60,000. It's going to be a little bit different when you look at it percentage-wise. But if we go from that 19, 20,000 number up to here, you can see that's about 250%. Okay? And so that is why, or that's how we get from this value to here. Again, the returns aren't as crazy as before. So if you, by the way, some of you who you might be saying, well, isn't 250 2.5? A way to look at it would be like this. If you put in $100 here at 20,000 and then it went to 40,000, then you're going to get 100% returns back, right? Your initial investment plus the rest, so 100%. And then as it goes up further, 200%, it's even double past that. And then the 50% to 70,000, okay? Because it's half of 20. So 250% from that all-time high, 20,000 to 70,000. I hope I explained that okay for some of you guys to understand. I know math can be hard for people, so I try to simplify it. If I did a bad job explaining, I apologize. But you can see right here. Very different, let's stay on track, very different from before, okay? We already showed here was over 3,000% return, okay? Regress strength, diminished returns, 1,500% returns, okay? So about half of the overall gains from this cycle, 3,000-ish to 1,500, okay? 2 to 2.5 times less. Here, 20,000 to 70,000. All right, so that went up about 3.5 times. Okay, now if you're guessing, well, what might be around half of that? Okay, again, let's show this number, 250%. Let's go even 125%. Let's scroll down on the side here. Where would 125% put us? And let's make sure our fib is off log scale so we can see some of these extensions. And again, this isn't an exact price prediction, but we're going to go from around the 69,000 number. We're going to go around 125%. I found this to be kind of funny, that it got perfectly to this 2618 number at 155,000. And I find that kind of funny because when we take a look at the rainbow chart here, I've been very conservative as far as which color band I'm looking at. And I've also told you guys that when Bitcoin's up in those color bands, that's when you have to be ready to take profits into altcoins, that they might 5, 10, 20x, and you'll be near the peaks, as we've been here before. Okay, sometimes we've had a false peak. This has happened here and right away, here in 2013. 2021. But what I will say is this isn't truly a false peak in the sense of Bitcoin dominance if you're looking for your altcoins to make money. So your perspective, it might change on this outlook whether you are deeply into Bitcoin and Ethereum or you are deeply into altcoins. Okay, because if you're deeply into altcoins, we want the Bitcoin dominance to come down and that money to go from Bitcoin into altcoins. When that has happened here and here, that's when altcoins have exploded and people have become millionaires very quickly. When that happens, you have to be very, very much ready to take profits. However, if you're in Bitcoin, you don't care if you sell here at 60,000 versus 65,000, especially when it goes down to 17K. All right, we're almost pinching pennies here, and it's very difficult to time the exact top. So 150K, let's stay on track here. Where would 150K be? Let's say the top of crypto is later this year, the very next peak. you can see in that orange box, that's the third color down, that's in that range, 144 to 186. See what I'm talking about, right? This third orange line, not the top red line, not the second, but the third one. Another reason I'm looking at that is on this rainbow chart. Again, it's showing regression also by the peaks. So it's been up in the very top red. Here it's kind of in the middle. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's kind of in the middle of that red zone here. I'll zoom in a little. Middle high. Here it never got to the red bands. It only was in the second red band, the orangish red band. Okay, it got near the top and then it barely got into it. Okay, so we've been in the highest red, the second red. Next one, I think conservatively speaking, would be the orange color band. And when we take a look at the top being possibly later this year, that would be around that orange color, 144, if not a little higher. Even if you believe in the 4-year cycle, let's go to November of next, let's go to November of next year. Okay, that orange band, you can see now it's down in the fourth color down, the orange-yellow one at 146. Now, if it's later next year, I think the possibility of a peak being much higher is very real, depending on if we get a early peak or a later peak. Okay, because you see how the numbers, they still increase percentage-wise, even though we have logarithmic regression and diminished returns, doesn't mean that over time the value can't go up. And the reason I've been eyeing some of those days is, well, for a couple of reasons. I have this green line and this red line here. When we take the average of days from when a new all-time high is made, again, these yellow lines are every time a new all-time high is made, to the ultimate peak of that cycle. So this peak, this peak, this peak, that average has been about 300 days. And that puts us later this year. Okay, we had a new all-time high before the halving. So I was curious, how might that look differently? If you take the average from just the halving to the next peak, so again, these lines right here, from the halving to this peak, the halving to that peak, the halving to this peak, when you take that numerical average, it's about 484 days, which would put us in August of next year. All right? Add those up. Or just even think anywhere in between there. I believe we have this range here. And I believe with the Bitcoin rainbow chart, how even conservatively speaking, I've been eyeing that orange box as possible. And I'm okay with either top. Let's say it's November. Again, we're taking a look at that orange box. 142, 180K. All right. Let's say it's next August. 170 to 220. Okay. 4-year cycle. November. 190 to 240. Okay. Anywhere in those orange to red bands, I think is realistic. And as you see here, red, reddish orange, orange. I think orange, as far as the way this is going, again, things can always surprise us and move as far as the patterns go. I think that orange band is a good area to look. We can also see this from the bottoms. Each bottom goes up a zone at each halving. This bottom was in this blue zone. This bottom was in the teal zone. This halving was in the turquoise zone. This halving was in the green zone. Okay, so we've been going up one each, and then I know we've been in red, red, red. So here, and also we've gone dark red, reddish orange, orange. Dark red, reddish orange, orange. So I'm guessing we'll be around this area. We're at the higher end of the orange. Again, it's just fun patterns to notice, and patterns are only good for as long as they're good for. So unlike many YouTubers out there who seem to get married to their patterns, and if it doesn't work out, then they have egg on their face. Guys, I don't care whether this ends up being true or not. If we do get 500,000 Bitcoin, great. The way I see it, for myself as an altcoin trade investor, That's what I do. I'm not encouraging you to do that, but that's what I do. All I care about is the price of my altcoins and the dominance of Bitcoin or Tether. Okay. And again, Bitcoin dominance, when it tanks, which takes about a month, when it goes from the 60% about to the low 40s, it's only around 4 weeks worth of time. And it's right near the end of the peak. So you have to be ready to take profits, not financial advice. Okay. Because again, if you just want to buy and hold forever, you can do that. You could have bought and held Bitcoin at the top here at $800 or $1,200, doesn't matter, and you'd be sitting pretty right now. Okay. But if you're willing to do that, then you have to be willing to sit through 3 to 4 years. Okay. It's been about 2 years, 3 to 4 years, 4 years about, again, almost 3 years. You have to be able to sit through a lot of time where it's much lower value. And so I've looked at this, and many people have looked at this and said, well, when it gets overextended, take profits. And if you really believe in it, you can buy back in at lower prices. Take profits, buy back in at lower prices. So you can buy and hold if you have a ton of patience, or you can take a lot of profits. And then if you buy in when it's lower, when it's not as overextended, you can even multiply your value. Okay. So if you bought Bitcoin here at like $7,000, did a 10x, sold it around 70. Let's say you sold at the very top. You made a 10x and you sold. Then you could have bought back down here, okay, with that 10x money at around 20K. And already you would have tripled that money. So you would have made a 10x from here and a 3x from here. So you would have 30x your overall profits. Instead of just buying and holding from back here, let's say you bought back here, you would have only had a 3x profit in all this time. So that's why taking profits can be good. But I look at the dominance. Right now, the dominance is going up. The dominance does have a weekly buy signal, and it looks like it may be getting ready to push up and through. I've been watching this 58% level for a couple different trend lines, a diagonal and a horizontal one. I'm watching the tether dominance. And the tether dominance, I like to look at the RSI and make sure that the relative strength index shows that we're under 50. As long as we're under 50, I think that's making bullish, because in the past, when the tether dominance has hit this trend line, let me hide those EMAs. When the tether dominance hit this trend line, that's been local tops. 2017 top, 2019 mid-cycle top, the top before the COVID dump, the first Bitcoin top, but you can see here we had two false tops. Okay, we had the second Bitcoin top. Alt season was in here. We had this top, okay, where we made new all-time highs, but it looks like we're coming back down to it. Okay, maybe we get further away again and then top later. I don't know, early next year. Who knows? I don't care. But I'm looking for the RSI, the strength, to stay under 50, and things could get very bullish. And if you're wondering where these tops are, what that's showing, it's showing this top right here, the mid-cycle top, and then this top right here. That's what it lined up with, okay? So as an altcoin trade investor, what I like to do, that's what I care about. I care about the price, the amount of returns I'm getting, okay, and where the dominance is at, depending on how risky I want to be. Okay, if you're just a Bitcoin person, then you just really care about where the next cycle top would be. And if you've already made a 3x with your money, let's say conservatively speaking, you got it around, I don't know, 23,000 and it's here at 70, and you're wondering, hey, maybe this market psychology guy's right. Maybe it'll get to somewhere around 155K, right? So I won't just get a 3x. Maybe I can get a 6x and it can get up that high. Okay. Hey, I'm not telling you what to do with your money. You can take profits right now. A 3x inside of a year and a half, that's not bad. But if you're willing to see if it can get even higher, when we start getting up to these fib levels, that might be areas to look for. and some of the other fib levels even higher. Again, look at this where the 3618 and 4236 is. Sorry, getting some notifications here from Amazon at a delivery. We have 209 and 242. 209 and 242. Where would that be at any of those time frames where we might see a top? I said maybe in later this year. 209 and 242. Funny enough about that, that's in the red zones right there. 209 would be in the reddish orange zone. 242 would be on the lower end of the top red zone. Interesting. Okay, 209, 242. What about next August? Where would 209 be? It would be in that orange box. 242 would be just a little bit above in the red box if we do top later next year. 4-year cycle, where would that put us? From November of 21 to November of 25. Look where 242 is. It is right at the bottom of this red zone right here. Of the reddish orange one, sorry. 209 is, of course, in the orange zone. So no matter, I don't know when things will top, whether it's now and it's over or later. I don't know. No YouTuber knows. But should some of these patterns, percentage-wise, keep playing out, then, I'm eyeing, again, this range of December to next August. Okay? Sorry, August of 25. If it's later than that, cool. I don't care. Bitcoin dominance, whenever it tanks, that'll be the time I'm really concerned about. And if my altcoins are going up or not. Because right now I'm fine just dollar cost averaging it. As far as what Bitcoin does, cool. I don't care. I don't care if it 2x's from here or 3x's. But my guess is, well, I do care to a point, just so the higher it goes, the more money that can go from Bitcoin into the altcoins. I do care about that. But I'm not a Bitcoin maxi like some of you guys are out there. And if you are looking to get into crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum are the conservative plays. And something to bear in mind is market cap. A lot of times when people make predictions, they don't even consider market cap. You probably see these crazy titles out there. And if you don't believe me, YouTube, search it. XRP Ripple to 10,000, Bitcoin to 1 million, Bitcoin to 500K. You see all these ridiculous predictions out there. Okay, I remember people in 2017 were calling for 500K, 300K. There's a guy named John McAfee, I believe. Earmuffs now, if kids are listening. During this time, he said, if Bitcoin doesn't reach 500K by 2020, I'm going to bite my own wee off. And obviously, that never happened. Rest in peace. I'm pretty sure that guy's passed away now. But yeah, people have been saying ridiculous crap since back here. Okay? Do consider market cap. Right now, Bitcoin is at a $1.37 trillion market cap. The top stocks in the world, such as NVIDIA, market cap around $3 trillion. Whoa, big spike to, oh yeah, they just had the stock split. NVIDIA just had the stock split. That's why it's no longer at around 1,200. Okay, got up here to around 2. Dang, I can't wait to look more at this NVIDIA chart. What a crazy day NVIDIA had. I'm going to check this out super quick. It's crazy. NVIDIA pulling some crazy moves. All right, anyways, stay on track. I get so easily distracted. Microsoft, top stock in the world, 3.2 trillion. Apple, the number 3 stock now, 2.96 trillion. Okay, so just going back to Bitcoin, if I'm comparing it against the top stocks in the world, I might say, conservatively speaking, that maybe somewhere like 3 to 4 trillion at best would be where it goes. Well, again, where is double the price? Remember what we talked about with the 150 number that we had on the fib extension, the 155 number, or half the overall gains from 2017 to 21 from high to high. If we had half the amount, puts us here. Okay, so that's about double and then some change. 140K would be purely double, but it's a little bit more than that. All right. So going back to market cap, if we take, I'm just going to do this on my calculator right now. 155 divided by 70 is 2.214, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply it by this 1.37. Okay. Because Bitcoin is at a 1.37 trillion. The number I'm getting is 3 trillion. 3 trillion, which is right where the top stocks are in the world. I showed you this with Nvidia, with Microsoft, with Apple. They're at 3 trillion. If Bitcoin gets here, it'll be right around that number. And I think the reason why that could be a very strong number, whether it's the top or this is the top, I don't know. Again, I don't care. Whether or not 210 or 209, 241, any of these fib extensions, whether or not they're the top or not, what I think makes sense about this is 3 trillion is a very strong number for the whales out there, the hedge funds, people with all the money, the people who really make this stuff move. You take a look at some of this stuff that's worth trillions and how hundreds of billions can enter or leave inside of a month. It's crazy. Higher than the value of entire countries. It's nuts to think about. But if that's a key number in people's minds, like you got to ask yourself, if people are whales with hundreds of billions of dollars to move, they're going to ask themselves this question as it gets near this fib level, the 2618. Is Bitcoin worth more to me than Microsoft, which has tangible value? Sorry, but not sorry to all the Bitcoin maxis out there. Is Bitcoin worth more money to me at that market cap? Again, we're thinking about market cap. If it's at 3 trillion and 155K, is it worth more to me than Nvidia, one of the top, if not the top, semiconductor stock out there of the future for AI technology? Is Bitcoin worth more than that or as much as that at 3 trillion? Is it worth as much, if not more, than Apple? You guys, deep inside, I know you believe that answer right now is no. Disagree with me below, but I'll tell you this. Bitcoin, for as long as it's been out, what is the tangible value of Bitcoin right now? Again, we're investing in the future when we do invest. The only place I've seen tangible value for Bitcoin is the exchange machines, which I've seen more prominently in third world countries. And yes, I've traveled to some third world countries, or in some not good areas of the city. In multiple cities I've been in. It's the only place I've seen Bitcoin exchange machines. Now, you can make the argument about the dollar weakening, inflation, how Bitcoin holds its value, how it's quick peer-to-peer transactions. Okay, I love that. I get all that. I think all those are great things. And in a world that, has these currency wars, the BRICS versus the dollar, where BRICS is, they're trying to make it more of a thing right now. The dollar's still going to be good for a while. Down the line, I could see, okay, maybe in another 10, 20, whatever years, maybe Bitcoin can get to that 500K level. All right, why not? But as far as right now, I think that 3 trillion number, that's going to be big in a lot of people's brains. For people who move all that money, they're going to ask themselves, if we do get an inflation spike again, and the Fed's got to cut rates or whatever, and the dollar gets even more devalued, yeah, that's going to increase the allure of Bitcoin. Okay, we're getting more into this video. Also, why it has this value. So we're talking about how and why we can get to this. But I also think this is going to be a big wall for Bitcoin here. I think it might not be. We might just blast off to 208 and all this crap I just said, is going to make me look, kind of foolish. That's fine. Again, I just care about my altcoins going up and getting great value from those when I do. I hope that happens again. I've been able to do it the past 2 cycles. But I think this 3 trillion number is going to be important. And if things get super euphoric, sure, why not? We can get to this 3618 number. And if you're wondering where the market cap of 3618 would be on the fib scale, so if we take, I'm just going to do 209. Okay, it's 208, 208,727. We're going to do 209 divided by current one, 69. 209 divided by 69. Okay, that's a 3x right there. If we multiply that times the market cap, I'll do 1.37. That would put Bitcoin's market cap at 4.15 trillion. Could Bitcoin later at the end of this year, or August next year, get to a $4.15 trillion market cap? I could see it, especially if inflation continues to be a problem. I could see it spiking there. I can't see it staying there. Eventually, Bitcoin will probably come back down to, 45K. I don't know. Where does the rainbow chart have us at the lower end? Let's say Bitcoin bottom somewhere like 26. Okay, where would something like 45K be? Okay, it's in that blue zone. Look, we've touched in that blue zone. Let's look at the higher end of this fire sale zone, because at the bottom, it's gotten down there. It's gotten down to that bottom zone. Didn't quite get there. It only got into the buy zone. Here it was in the buy zone. So let's take a look at this buy zone. 2026, we'll go to the middle of the year. 58K to 78K. All right, that sounds fine. Somewhere in that 58 to 76K range. But that's after going up to 150, 200K. I think that is the most conservative number. Again, 4.15 trillion right here. And if you're curious about the 241, let's do this quick. I'll do 242 divided by 69. That's a 3.5x to get to that number. And 3.5x times 1.37, that's a $4.8 trillion market cap. So Bitcoin will almost have $5 trillion market cap if it's up here. Could I see that happening? For a lot of you guys out there, if you can easily see that happening, hey, good on you. I wish you luck. And I hope it gets there. Hell, I would love if Bitcoin all of a sudden went ape to 500K, like Kathy Wood and some others are talking about. Because again, what do I care about? That money rolling over from the crypto money rolling over from Bitcoin into altcoins. That's what I care about. So I don't care if it surpasses and exceeds my expectations, because that's just more money for the alts. Sounds great to me. But do I think it's going to happen? That's why, again, this 155 to 208 range, the rainbow chart shows it, that's kind of the likely range in the orange to reddish orange bands. That's where we were last time. Okay, we have regression, we have diminished returns. That's what I'm taking a look at. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe Bitcoin will even get to 155K? Do you believe its market cap can get above 3 trillion? Or heck, even above 4 trillion? What do you think? Do the people that have all the money that move tens of hundreds of billions of dollars, do you think they are going to buy Bitcoin, or that retail will buy at any price? That's what dumb money does. But do you think large amounts of money are going to flow into Bitcoin instead of Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple? I struggle with that thought. Now, if it happens, cool. Again, it doesn't affect me. What does affect me is Bitcoin dominance and that money, the Bitcoin money, rolling into alts. And when that happens, should I be correct yet again in the altcoins I picked, I'll be a happy guy yet again. I'm already in the green with my alts as is. I was getting in at great times. Okay, as dollar cost averaging in at good value before a lot of them went up. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Going to do a Bitcoin mining stock video later this week. Also some videos on the stocks, S&P 500, earnings reports for stocks coming out this week. So stay tuned. Hope you all had a wonderful Monday, are enjoying the warm weather and summer. Take good care. Bye-bye.